Hello and welcome back to Madison County, Kentucky for part 2 of our soil quality exercise. Watch the first video for some background on the soil quality data, and the first bit we did, I'm going to go ahead now and zoom in to our study area. And what we did in the first video was to take what's essentially a big scribble, a fellow walking around our study area with a GPS unit, and we turned that into some shape files that we could use. So I'll turn that off, and we created 2 shape files, symbolized them, labeled them, and off camera I digitized the drainage pathways in the swine waste affected watershed and in the unaffected watershed. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the air photos for the moment. So that's where we left it. In this video, we're going to get some data, soil phosphorus data, and I've got the data, but I also have the downloaded GPS data from the day we sampled. So I've got latitude, longitude in a text file format, but that's well, it's not in good shape. It's not able to be used right now. But the easiest way I've found to do this is to go ahead and copy it to a Word document. And now we need to clean out the garbage. So we can get rid of these headers. Just delete that. We need to clean these up, but what I really want to show you here is this degree symbol is some kind of funny character, and so the best way to get rid of it is to copy that, and then so go to find and replace, and I want to find that degree symbol, and I want to replace it with a space because I need a space between my degrees and my minutes here. So I'm going to replace that with a space. I'm going to replace all, should be 200. We can do the same thing with our apostrophe. We want to replace that with a space so that our minutes no longer have that useless symbol. So there's 200, and so on and so on. We can get rid of the ends, or we can put spaces in. Anyway, the idea is to clean up the file, and so we can close that now. We've got a copy of it. What I want to do is get to here. This is where we started, and after all, whoops, that's a different one. So at this point, I've got spaces everywhere I need between things I want to save and things I want to get rid of. I've got spaces, and so now I can select this, I can copy it, and I can go into Excel now, and I could copy that. So I've got that already. That's over here, and if you'll notice, it's just a bunch of long text strings. So I'll highlight everything. I'm going to change text to columns. That's in the data ribbon over here, text to columns. I want it delimited. It usually defaults to tab, but I want space delimited. I want consecutive delimiters to be considered as one. I'll go to next. It'll overwrite my data if I let it, but I usually like to bring it out here in case something messes up. I still have my original file. Now I can get rid of a lot of this. Well, right now I can get rid of all of the text things because it worked okay. So there's an ID. All of these headers are bogus, but I get rid of the garbage. I don't need a whole column of N's, and I don't need a whole column of W's, and so on and so on. And so after getting rid of all the garbage and not actually fixing the headers yet, here's what I've got. Now I need to get this in decimal degrees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say equals and point to my degrees, and I'm going to add to it my minutes divided by 60, because there's 60 minutes in a degree. Alrighty, and I can copy that. I'm going to now copy this. I'm going to copy over this. I'm going to paste special. I'm going to paste values, and that obviously changes my formulas, but that's okay. I can now get rid of this. Now this is a touch tricky. I need negative signs here, so I'm going to say equals negative my longitude, and I also have to say negative, pardon me, yeah, that's right, negative my minutes, because I want to keep going west, remember. I don't want to turn back east by adding in the minutes. Anyway, so we copy that down, and we copy the values, and there we've got latitude, longitude, and so there it is, all cleaned up with proper headers. I already had my phosphorus data. I have a record number, and we just marked all these with a GPS unit, collected soil samples, took them back to the lab, spent a few weeks analyzing them, and now I've put them all together, and there they are. So I've got, matched by my IDs, I've got latitude, longitude, and my soil data. So now make sure when you're going to bring something into Excel, you that you have that the Excel file is closed. It fails if you don't do that. And so let's see, this is actually this is the same thing under a different name. I already had a copy of it, and it's not got a proper name like the other one did. But anyway, we can add that. Alrighty, and now we can say let's display XY data, and we want longitude and latitude. We need to edit this. This is WGS 84, and we'll say OK. That should be all right. This makes what they call an events layer. We kind of wandered outside our watersheds there a little bit, but now what I want to do is make a shapefile out of that. I go and right click my events layer. I'm going to export data, and I'm going to put it under farm data, and I'm going to call it June 2010 P data. And we're going to add it to the map as a layer. We can There's that. Let's get rid of the events layer so we don't get confused. All right. Now we can symbolize this however we wish. I guess we can do that real quickly. And so I'm going to have quantities. I want my Malik 3P. Oh, let's do green to red. Let's flip the symbols. Green is low, red is high. All right, let's properties for selected symbols. Let's make them a little bit bigger. That's good enough. We don't actually need them in there. All right, those are a little too big, but that's okay. We're going to get rid of them here in a minute. So we can see right away that down this area, let me turn back on the air photos so we can see what we're looking at. And so down the drain that received the overflow from the swine waste lagoon, we tend to have somewhat higher phosphate, in fact, quite a bit higher when you look at the data carefully. In any case, what I want to do actually right now is do an interpolation, a point to raster interpolation. Takes a minute to get the tools out. That's under the Spatial Analyst tool set, and there's a bunch of other stuff we've been doing, but interpolation, there's several different types. You can read about them. The help in ArcMap is pretty good on this. I'm going to go do IDW, inverse distance weighted, and so now we're going to input the point features, and it's going to be June 2010 P data. And the value field is going to be my phosphorus data, and I'm going to call this IDWP data 2 and say save. I'll take the defaults here. I usually use a power of 2. It kind of reminds me of the inverse square law, and I'll take the rest of them as defaults. This may not be the best one because this tends to kind of accentuate the points a little too much by falling off so fast. So there's the symbolization. I've actually got one I did before and symbolized it a little bit more like I wanted. We'll turn that one off, and those points are too big on the point data. Let's go ahead and turn those off. So you can see we've got rather much higher phosphate in the down the treatment drain, and a little bit higher over here in the unaffected one. But basically it shows us that we do have some soil quality effects here where the swine waste is flowing downhill. Not surprising, I suppose. In any case, that is the second part and the end of the soil quality exercise. Thank you and good evening.